Book 2, the book of the traveler of the worlds. Canto 1, the World-Stair. And this reminds me of the fact that Sri Aurobindo talks about his journey of experience, which he described in Savitri as an ascension, climbing from one level to another level, one level of consciousness, and the next level, and then the third, and thus it goes on. It becomes until you reach the infinite. And at each level, the vision, the experience, the perception naturally widens, heightens. You see what you had never seen before. So this is what is really the description of the entire book 2. It's a long, long climb, 15 cantos. The possibility of expression, of manifestation from one stage to the next. And each stage is an expression of one part of the truth. The whole creation or manifestation is one part of the truth which is the divine plan. To make this universe an outer manifestation of the intention that was behind creation. We all have intentions. We don't usually succeed in expressing them. At each level, there are things that come in the way. This is the whole purpose of manifestation, to remove what comes in the way. The imperfections, the impurities, the weaknesses, the incapacities that make us incapable of putting into expression the truth that is always there, that was always intended from the beginning. So he starts this canto by, in a sense, by putting it in a compact manner, where it is you might say, continuation of the previous chapter. He says in the last canto, 5, book 1, he enters into homelands of beauty shut to human eyes, so belts of knowledge, moon belts of delight, stretched out in an ecstasy of widenesses beyond our indigent corporeal range. Our range of experience is so poor. There he could enter, there a while abide. A voyager upon uncharted routes, fronting the viewless danger of the unknown. Danger, naturally, when you have to confront that which has never been experienced as yet, into the fields of the eternal manifestation in its essence. That is as if beyond the play of existence, the world of the divine plan, where all is already there. And from there, progressively, there are projections of his will in world after world. He sees a world of form. That world comes out in the world of matter, where matter should be an expression of that perfection of beauty which is there in its essence. Where at present it is not. Matter is incapable of transmitting that perfection. Similarly, life and mind, they are all planes which are there to transmit that original plan. And all of them are incomplete because there is still something that resists. And it is to discover this imperfection, the cause, the reason, why is this world of manifestation? not capable of transmitting that original intention. Why are we, who are supposed to be projections of the divine consciousness, incapable of transmitting that consciousness? So much error, so much imperfection, so much weakness, so much incapacity. So this is the whole journey of discovery. Consciousness is not enough. You discover the play of the limitations that come in the process of manifestation of that consciousness. What is the reason for these limitations? So this whole long book, which is very long, takes it up step by step. Alone he moved, watched by the infinity around him and the unknowable above. The infinity around him, the Satchitananda, beyond the Brahman, he has gone up to that stage. From that highest peak, he sees the projection of the divine manifestation, which is as yet not capable of expressing the totality of the divine consciousness. But from that standpoint, he knows, because he is one with that consciousness. All could be seen that shuns the mortal eye. He could see the source. In the mortal eye, we cannot see the divine at play in all things. We see errors, we see darknesses. All could be known. The mind has never grasped. All could be done. No mortal will can dare. So here in the world of form, of thought, of life, all from that highest point is as if spread out under him, and he says, this will be the ultimate manifestation of reality. What we cannot even think of. We cannot think of a world that is immortal, eternal. We think always in terms of time and limitation. A limitless movement filled a limitless peace. Apparent opposites. Movement and stillness. It is in the world of mind that there are opposites. In the world of the Absolute, there are no opposites. It's part of the entire truth that contains everything. In a profound existence beyond earth's, parent or kin to our ideas and dreams, where space is a vast experiment of the soul, in an immaterial substance linked to ours, in a deep oneness of all things that are, the universe of the unknown arose. That's the main sentence. The universe of the unknown arose. This is what he sees, unknown to us as we are. But that universe is always there, has always been there, it is still there. But as we perceive progressively according to the development of our vision, you see a little at a time. Because our vision is incomplete. What is that universe? All universes, all manifestations take place in space. The field of projection. Here he says space is an experiment of the soul. So that field is made of spirit. It's a spirit world, a world of consciousness. Even the world of form is consciousness. In the world of shape, which is a world of consciousness, as it is in its origin. Time as well is the field of mortality, we think, of beginnings and endings. But all beginnings and endings are projections of the eternal. So he is now aware that this world as it is a kind of a preliminary stage of something which is an expression of the eternal. Why is it a preliminary stage? Because there is the play of limitation, of incapacity, of imperfection, of weakness, of inconscience. It is this, the world of our existence. The body as it is today, which was Mother's such a constant experience that she talks about in her last conversations, how the body, the world of matter lived in the body, has to become completely transparent to the spirit, an expression of the spirit. At present it is not. The body likes itself as it is. It doesn't want to change. It's difficult to make us change our thoughts, let alone the body. The world of thought doesn't have a material substance, and yet there is so much difficulty to change the pattern of our thoughts. So how much more difficult it should be to change the substance of the body, to transmit consciousness. But there in that world that he now sees, space is an experiment of the soul. Why has the Divine created the universe? An experiment. An experiment of, can this world of manifestation be an expression of consciousness? Or is it? Essentially it is an expression of consciousness. Essentially. Outwardly, can it become one also? Therefore, the next line is immaterial. The substance is immaterial. It's almost a kind of a contradiction of terms. In an immaterial substance, linked to ours, it is not foreign to our nature. We are made of the same substance. We are part of that same, you might say, creative origin. But today we have cut off connection with that origin. So we think we are self-existent. I am a material body, separate and completely, total, complete in my little nature. My body is like this, my material existence is like this, the world is like this, as I see it, as I touch it, as I know it, as I feel it, and that's it. And yet, behind this is the immaterial substance, linked to ours, in a deep oneness of all things that are. All is, in all its nature, in its diversity, everything is forever. And yet, all things are one. The same original consciousness manifesting itself as many. The one becomes the many. So this is a supramental future new world that Mother talks about so much. In a deep oneness of all things that are, the universe of the unknown arose. A self-creation without end or pause. Self-creation, there is no creator and creation. The creation itself is an expression of the creator. In fact, in everything that we are, even in our little world, the sense of self, I am distinct from I am doing this. But this thing that I do, any work that I do, any form that I make or shape, is actually a projection of myself. Is it not? What we say or do is an expression of what we are. The consciousness is present in all things. That is the whole problem, that since we are still incomplete, our evolution has not yet become totally an expression of the essence that we are, which is the divine. There is a division between our essence and what we are on the outside. On the outside I do this, essentially I am different. But when it is what is on the outside is an expression of what is on the inside. On the outside is a world of form. That world of form is essentially a world of the spirit. So matter and spirit, consciousness and you might say so-called unconsciousness or substance are two facets of the same. And he has been talking about this in the last few cantos anyway. A self-creation without end or pause revealed the grandeurs of the infinite, the greatness of the infinite. The infinite cannot naturally be bound by any rules. That is why it is the infinite. And what is great, what is grand, is that which is utterly free. Freedom is the sign of greatness. Not bound by any laws, not bound by any rules, not bound by any pressures. So the whole play of this universe of manifestation is an expression of the supreme infinite consciousness, freely manifesting himself. And that is why probably when Sri Aurobindo talks about in the life divine, the first, you might say, preoccupation of man, which is God, light, he has added the word freedom. Freedom from all, not ego only or weakness, freedom from all standards and rules that we make. For a long time, these limits, these walls, these standards are helpers. Because we are small, we want to hold on to the railings of form. But when we are not dependent any longer on the railings of form, everything is an expression of the world of the divine consciousness. Form also. A self-creation without end or pause revealed the grandeurs of the infinite. It flung into the hazards of its play a million molds, a myriad energies, the world shapes that are fancies of its truth. It's as if they are fancies, whims. He wants to manifest whatever he wants to manifest. He wants to manifest you and me at one point. At some point he says, this is not good enough, I take it back. It's like an artist who makes a shape and then at some point says, I have to just break down this shape and make a better one. This world of manifestation is an expression of his consciousness. So they are his fancies. It is part of his leela. Why does he do it? Well, it's up to him to decide why he wants to do it. It's not for us to... We don't have to find justifications. Who are we to ask why you do that to the divine? Why do you do this? Why have you created this world of imperfection? Who am I to ask this? Because I have no notion of what really is the divine, or what the divine consciousness is. Because I bring him down to my level of perception, my definitions, instead of expanding myself out of my little limits and becoming one with him. So it's a hazard, he calls it. Because he makes, he shapes, he breaks. And it's like the image of the sculptor. Sri Aurobindo has mentioned in one of his letters, he often is much more at ease in the world of art with sculpture, not so much painting. Sculpture and architecture, because it is a projection in form. And that form has to have a particular perfection to be able to last. And when it is not perfect, he breaks it down. This world is like a house. This whole book too is like a house. He's describing a journey up the staircase of manifestation, of consciousness. So it flung into the hazards of its play a million moods, a myriad energies, the world shapes that are fancies of its truth, and the formulas of the freedom of its force. They are all words that are contradictions. A formula and its freedom. Formula is like a fixed, you might say, equation. Has to be like this. Yes, now the world is like this. Tomorrow it may be different. He makes a new formula. Or he doesn't make one at all. That's in the world of nirvana, there is no form. All of this is his will. So in line after line, we have these apparent contradictions, they are called oxymorons. It poured into the ever-stable flux there. All always is. Everything moves, changes, and yet behind the change there is the permanent. Behind the world of manifestation there is the unmanifest. The truth is there. The outer expression of the truth can alter, but behind it is that. Into the ever-stable flux, a Bacchic rapture and revel of ideas, as if it's a divine intoxication. Bacchus is not just the god of wine, he's the god of inspiration. What is inspiration? It is as if a creative intoxication. He has been swept away by, just like a poet often is, an artist is, swept away by the need to express what is not yet expressed. And that is the delight of creation. The universe is born of that ananda. He didn't have to create a universe. He didn't have to do anything because he is the supreme. Yet he did create the universe. When he created, he followed a certain pattern. Perhaps when he finds that this pattern has to be improved or altered or all completely renewed, he would do that. So then we ask ourselves that question, why is there death? Why is there not death? When there is something that has not been able to create or express the eternal, why should he not withdraw that expression into nothingness? If I am capable of transmitting him, he is the eternal, without any kind of distortion, then there will not be death. But as long as I am not capable of transmitting his consciousness, his flow of creative energy is blocked. I am blocking it with my inconscience and my ignorance. So he breaks me down. He says, start again. As in Mother's story of creation, it is as if the Lord tells her, she is the creative energy. He says to her, start again. This was not good. What you have done as yet is not yet perfect, so you start again. And again he starts. She starts, rather, you might call it, her force. So she says, she started once, twice, she's created the universe once, and twice, and thrice, 6 times. Each time he has broken it down. She says, this time, this is the 7th creation. This time it may not break down. Because each time there is a projection of one primary principle. This time it is the principle of equilibrium. Because of that, there may not be a pralaya. Otherwise we have had pralayas again and again. A passion and motion of everlastingness, the same thing. Passion of creative energy and the play of that manifestation in movement, and yet nothing moves. It's a continuous repetition of that same idea. All is, all changes. There rose unborn into the unchanging surge thoughts that abide in their deathless consequence. Words that immortal last through, though fallen mute, acts that brought out from silence its dumb sense, lines that convey the inexpressible. The eternal stillness saw in unmoved joy his universal power at work. Display in plots of pain and dramas of delight the wonder and beauty of her will to be. So it's as if two forces, one the eternal, constant, calm, unchanged, one his power. She's working out his consciousness and shaping it, breaking down what has been not yet capable of transmitting his consciousness, facing limitations. So she starts again and again. He sees this. He is never disturbed with unmoved joy because the delight of the Creator is always behind her. She and he are two forces, two facets of the same. It's like a leela in plots of pain and dramas of delight. The wonder and beauty of her will to be. The creative energy is the will to be. Projected out of him is the will to manifest, the will to be. All, even pain, was the soul's pleasure here. Here, all experience was a single plan. So that is the summary of the entire book too. The journey that he is making through every level of expression, different experiences, are part of that one plan. Whether it is the world of the subtle physical or the vital, even the darker vital, at present the darker lower vital, or the higher forces that are at work in the world of gods, all these are part of one plan. The thousandfold expression of the one which is the many. All came at once into his single view. This is the Rishi's experience. He sees all things in one glance, not the mind. The mind sees one thing at a time. We recognize something one at a time, and then it becomes a kind of a linear perception. Here, the nature of the supramental vision, the global perception. You see all things in one glance, not separating one from the other. They are all there, everything is there. Nothing is omitted, but all are part of the one. Whereas if we use our mind, which is what we are supposed to do most of the time, we see only one thing at a time. And each thing that we see is dependent on the quality of our mind. If my mind is small, I see only little things. If my mind is a little wider, I can take in a little more. And the nature of mind is to judge, to understand, to put into relationship one thing with another and say, this is big and that is small. Nothing is big and nothing is small. Everything is one. You tell me when you've had enough. All came at once into his single view. Nothing escaped his vast intuitive sight. It's direct vision. It's not thought. That's why it's intuitive sight. Nothing drew near. He could not feel as kin. This is knowledge by identity. Kin, that part of your extended family. We are part of the whole world because we are the world. He was one spirit with that immensity. Images in a supernal consciousness, embodying the unborn who never dies. So each form is an image. An image is a projection of your consciousness always. You project something according to who you are. isn't it? When you make an image, it's a projection of who you are. So always, all external expression of form has behind it the play of the conscious person who has put into expression what he experiences. Therefore, every artist is different in his experience. He sees something in one way, I see the same thing in a different way. And all are right. And as long as I'm just limited to my mortality, all are imperfectly expressed, all are wrong in a way. No, nothing is fundamentally wrong. It's a partial expression. That's what is true in our daily life also. What we are, what we say, what we do is a projection of what we are. Nothing escaped his vast intuitive sight. Nothing drew near he could not feel as kin. He was one spirit with that immensity. Images in a supernal consciousness, embodying the unborn who never dies, the structured visions of the cosmic self, alive with the touch of being's eternity, looked at him like form-bound spiritual thoughts. So you have these images, they are like structured visions, organized, well worked out. This universe is never chaotic, it is not random. It has a particular sequence, it has like a kind of logic, which is the logic of the infinite. It is not my logic, it is his logic. The way he wants things to manifest one after the other. He takes it up, one after the other. He takes up the lowest, he puts it at the top. The cosmic self is at the base, the cosmic self is at the top. The supreme inconscient is actually an expression of the Supreme, who is in his stillness, in his sleep, in his Anantashayan, he is there, right at the base. And that is why the cosmos can be stable. He is holding it. So it is alive with the touch of being's eternity. Looked at him, this is what the Rishi sees now, Sri Aurobindo, like thoughts that are expressions of form. Each thought has a form. Each idea has a shape, we don't realize it. So there are people who have, one of the reasons why you develop your mind in education is to be able to give a clear expression of what you want to say. It has a clarity, it has a kind of a silhouette of form. And yet they are expressions of the spirit, figuring the movements of that which never moves. Ineffable is that which cannot be described. If I can say he is great, then I am putting him down, limiting him to his greatness. Each form, small or big, is that which is beyond description. Aspects of being, therefore each form is an expression of existence, of Sat, of consciousness. Aspects of being, donned world outline. So each form expresses the whole universe. The smallest expresses the all. Each atom is really an expression of the cosmos. Forms that open moving doors on things divine. Became familiar to his hourly sight. So this is a kind of continuous journey of discovery. Each world, each plane, each expression is a form of truth at a different level. These are like symbols. Each symbol is a form of particular truth. The symbols of the spirit's reality, the living bodies of the bodiless, grew near to him his daily associates. So this is what the whole play of expression becomes an expression of the one.
Do we stop here because we have been sitting for a long time also?
Yes, I think we can stop. It's already 40. And it's quite not easy.
In this, when he has explained the vital planes, so after that he has gone to falsehood and all that. So that is in the same plane, we can say, or a different world.
No. Falsehood is what?
Absence of truth, darkness.
No, it's not an absence. It is a concentration of force, of rejection of light. That utter darkness, the sense of being utterly cut off from the origin, that too is part of the process of development of consciousness. There are those among us also who are very sure of themselves, who are sure they don't need any divine guidance, because they are very, very sure that they are what they ought to be, and that is utter ego and falsehood. Because of the ego, the falsehood. But these are the very strong people. At a certain stage, they take a stand. They don't rely on continuous help and guidance. That is part of the world of life. Falsehood is ego. And ego is a very important stage in our development. Because in the world of matter, the play of the ego is very, very small. It's hardly there.
One thing I wanted to clarify, you talked about pralay and the necessity of discipline and decide at any time to have the pralay. Now that this supramental has descended.
Yes, but the more the play of the supermind becomes active, the more the opposition has become active. Because it is as if the world of darkness is threatened.
Right.
It has controlled the universe for so long, it is threatened. So its opposition has increased like tenfold. Earlier we were ready to accept that there may be a divine guidance. Today I say I don't need any divine guidance. I'm good enough by myself. So as the light increases, the perception of darkness increases. You see the dark much more clearly.
The more the light, the more clear the darkness becomes.
Yes. So the supermind has manifested itself, the opposition to the supermind has manifested itself also. Much more than ever before.
So the chances of pralay are not.
And so when this comes to a tipping point, it will, and it has broken down. So this play will finally say this can't go on forever. You have to break it down. So he has broken it down. It's all based on each time in a different principle. The principle of light, the principle of joy, all these, the world was not capable of bearing the pressure of perfect joy. It broke down. It is enamored of its suffering.